How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Novichenko Whips YouTube channel. Today we're doing something fun to get rid of this sunken in wheel and tire look on the F30. Easy way, of course, to do that, even before maybe you do suspension mods, is some good quality spacers. I found these here, highly recommended online, and they're also more or less lightweight design. Back in the day, they used to just be a solid piece. We're going for 12.5 in the front and 15 millimeter in the back. Let's get to it. Before I go ahead and pull these off, something that I think is important is to make sure your spacers are hub centric and the correct size for the hub on your car. And these are quite nice. They have a lot of these divots. When you're going to be taking off your spacer, you'll be able to evenly, lightly pry it off in case it gets sort of corroded on there. I like to use Scotch-Brite, some of these random brushes, and then I like to use a copper anti-seize on the new bolts so that if you're going to take them off and on often, it'll make your life a lot easier. Let's take this wheel off and see what's going on underneath. Good little trick, if you already have the car up in the air and you're not an all-wheel drive vehicle, if you try to unscrew these, of course you're just going to spin the wheel. I lower the tire to just touch the ground slightly, and then loosen all the bolts, and then lift it back up and pull them all out. What happened to the tire?
Yeah, it's on the tire.
Your tire might be on there pretty tight. Might have to kick it on the top and bottom side or left and right a few times with your tennis shoes. But this is what I'm talking about. You need to go with your brush and Scotch-Brite and clean up those surfaces before putting on your spacer. See all that gunk coming off of there? The dust and the rustiness. You want all that off so you're down to the metal, especially on the hub. Make sure everything seats perfectly flat. Good time to inspect your brakes, brake pads, and any other suspension components. Seat that on there. Make sure it's good and flat. Line up your hole. Here's what I meant about the anti-seize. You don't need a crazy amount. Maybe put some on the tip. As you screw it in, it will get on the rest of the threads. And again, years down the road or months down the road, taking it off will be much easier. Good thing to do on the inside of the wheel, clean it up as well with the brush and the Scotch-Brite. Put the spacer on. Make sure it's not moving. Make sure it sits all flat and nice as well. And then line it up carefully with your holes and use your 17 mil to loosely tighten them up. And then once you've hand tightened it as much as you can while the tire is floating, lower the vehicle just enough to where the tire is touching the ground and you can tighten all the bolts. Here's a quick after on the front one. When we lower the car, there's a little bit of camber, but you can already see how much better that's gonna look. Again, here's a quick before 12.5 millimeter spacer. And after. We're not at the ground yet, stay tuned. Here's how she looks with the spacers. The gaps are all nicely filled in. I do plan to lower the car. I got some H&R Sport springs. I'm not worried about the front rubbing, but maybe the 15 mil in the back will touch just a bit. If that'll be the case, we can downsize to like a 12.5 or 13 in the back as well. I understand lowering it might introduce, and after an alignment can get some camber, but I think this is just a juicy tire that might touch